be doing a book haul. I would call this my December book haul, but I called my last video my December book haul when I didn't realize I was gonna get so many more books in December. So I probably shouldn't buy any more books in January, so maybe this can be my January one. Again, sorry for the lighting. I'm recording at night. Again, it's just when I get in the mood to record, so that's why I'm doing it this way. First, I'll start off with some books that I got for Christmas, then some that I bought for myself, which is the bigger portion of this haul, are the books that I bought for myself. The first two books are ones that were on kind of my Christmas wish list that my brother bought for me because he knew that I had wanted them. And the first one is The Beginning of the World in the Middle of the Night by Jen Campbell. This one is not something I knew like a ton about. I really wasn't. It just, the cover is beautiful. I love that it's like just a hard, and there's no like flap or anything like that. And it's a bunch of short stories by this woman. So it's a bunch of short stories and they sound really cool and beautifully written, and there's like lost souls, superstition, spirits, and jam jars, mini apocalypses, animal hearts, and sideshows. It just sounds very mystical, magical, whimsical, all that kind of stuff. So I'm very excited to read this one. I think it'll probably be a very quick read, an exciting read. I'm usually not one for short stories, but when it's something like this, I find this like super interesting, and I think it'll be a good one. The next one I got is one that I saw Ingrid Nielsen, she's a big beauty YouTuber, talking about, and I don't really tend to watch like her book videos, but I've watched some of like her favorites videos, and she mentioned this book, which is Inferno, a poet's novel by Elaine Miles, and it's about a woman in New York City figuring out her sexuality. I started reading it and it's very like poetic and freeform. It's really interesting. I think it's super cool. I think it's super cool. It's a beautiful cover too. It just seems really interesting, and she had so many good things to say about it, and it just seems like something that I would be interested in and something like I've never read before, so I'm pretty excited about this one. The next one I got is I didn't necessarily buy this one, and I didn't necessarily be gifted it. I kind of just took it from my sister, and that is The Owl Always Hunts at Night by Samuel Bjork. This is the second book in the series of I'm Traveling Alone, which is I raved about in my last video. So this is the second book. It's not the same story or anything, it's just the same characters investigating a totally different serial killer or murder case, and I'm just pumped for this. I already know it's going to be amazing. My sister said she even liked this one better than the other one, so I obviously cannot wait for this. I've been putting it off because I don't want to like finish it and then have nothing from this guy to read. Like, he's just amazing. Like, just one of my favorite authors. Love this, and I can't wait to read it. The next book I got is one that my cousins and aunt and uncle, we always exchange like a gift for all the children, me being one of the children, and they picked out this book for me, which usually when people who don't know anything about like my book preferences pick out books for me, it usually goes really badly, but I'm actually really excited about this one, and that is The Snow Child by, ooh, what is that name? If somebody knows how to pronounce that, let me know. I'm not even gonna try, but it's The Snow Child. I've definitely picked this up in stores. I've heard about it. It sounds really cool. It takes place in 1920 in Alaska, and there's a child who lives in the woods, and there's a couple who come to understand the child and I guess like interact with her. I don't really know anything else about it, but it seems really interesting and something that I would pick up and look at but not actually buy for myself, so I'm really glad that I got it as a gift. Then I ended up going to Barnes & Noble, even though I said that I wouldn't because I have so many books that I'm waiting to read. You know, my brother asked me if I wanted to go, and I was like, I guess I like have to go, and if I have to go, that means I have to buy some books. So I picked up two. The first one is a young adult novel story anthology, Meet Cute. It's got some really big YA names: Jennifer L. Armentrout, Nina LaCour, Nicola Yoon, just all kinds of Emery Lord, all kinds of big names on here. And how freaking cute is this cover? Like all these little, oh, so cute. So it's all pretty much stories about first time a couple meets, so many different types of couples. I think that's my favorite thing about it, is the inclusion. Gay couples, transgender characters, people of color, all different time periods. There's some futuristic ones, there's some like good wholesome ones, all kind of just young adult people meeting and falling in love, and it's just adorable. I'm already pretty far into it, as you can tell, and I'm really enjoying it. Most of the stories I really like. There's a couple that I was like, I wish I didn't ever read that, but like other than that, all of the ones I've read so far by authors that I know and love, I have really liked. So I can't wait to finish this and let you guys know how I felt about it and my favorite stories from this particular book. Then on that same trip, I picked up After Dark by Haruki Murakami. And I know, oh my gosh, this is the guy who's wrote a really popular book, but I can't remember what it's called. And I'm sure if you looked up his name, you would know what I'm talking about. But he's got a bunch of books that look like this, and I just like, there was this big line of them. And this is the first one I picked up, but it sounded really interesting. It's about a girl, she's 19, and she's waiting out the night in an anonymous Denny's in Tokyo, and she meets a man who insists he knows her sister, so she goes with this man on this journey through the night in Tokyo. So there's lots of obviously crazy things that happen, interesting people she meets, models, prostitutes, mobsters, and musicians. So just like lots of cool, interesting things. I'm pretty excited to check this out. It's not something I would typically pick up, so I'm excited to try some new things this new year. Then my sister and I and her friend went to Brooklyn for a day. We live, you know, like 4.5 hours outside of New York City, so we just went and took a day trip there, and there was a bookstore there I really wanted to check out called Books Are Magic, and of course I had to go and buy some, support your local bookshops, all that kind of deal, and I got 2 books there. The first one my sister suggested to me, said it was one of her favorite books, and she's read it multiple times, a million times, and her copy is all battered up. It is The Secret History by Donna Tartt, and I just watched somebody's favorite books of 2017, and this was one of them as well, so I'm really excited. It sounds like something that's totally up my alley right now. So it's about college students who go to like an elite New England college, and they get into some sort of bad things when it comes to like corruption, betrayal, evil kind of things, but sounds really interesting. I'm kind of excited. It reminds me, I don't know why, but of How to Get Away with Murder, because she has all those, you know, all her law students, and they all work together for like a murder. So I wonder if this is mildly inspired, or that is mildly inspired by this, but I don't know. I'm really excited about it. My sister really liked it, and it's more of a hefty one. The pages are like really thin, so yeah, but I'm excited to check this one out too. I then bought one purely based on it having a beautiful cover. I was literally walking on my way to the checkout, and I don't know why, but I felt compelled. I felt like I needed another book. You know when you feel like one is just not enough? So I was like, that has a beautiful cover, and I'm gonna get it. And so it is I Capture the Castle by Dottie Smith, and I saw that Jenny Han had written the foreword for it, so I was like, cool. Literally know 0 things about this book, but that sounds interesting, and J.K. Rowling blurbed it, so I was like, gotta get it. And it's basically about the 17-year-old girl who lives in this really rundown castle with her family, and she's writing journal entries all about her time and her life, and I'm assuming it's like very coming of age or whatever. The cover is absolutely beautiful. I had no idea this was like a classic. It was written in 1948, so it's definitely an older style book. They just like redid the cover and everything and had a new person write a foreword. But I read like the first page and I was already hooked in. Like the narrator is really interesting, really quirky, and yeah, it just sounds really interesting. I'm pretty excited to read this one and just have it on my shelf because it is absolutely beautiful. The last book that I got is one I was at a bookstore in DC. They have a lot of like really, really awesome local bookshops. If you're ever in DC or live in the area, like their bookshops are awesome. Go to Kramer Books and Afterwards and Politics and Prose. Those are my favorites. And I was at Kramer Books and I was just browsing, and I've seen this book a couple times, and it is Lady Killers, Deadly Women Throughout History by Tori Telfer, and I've seen it like on the shelves and just didn't think about it, but then it was just calling to me, and I've been really into My Favorite Murder, which is a murder podcast with these 2 women who are hilarious, and they talk about murder and all kinds of cool stuff like that. Well, I guess not cool, just interesting, just very interesting. And this kind of reminded me of the podcast, and so I was like, gotta try it, you know, and I don't have any nonfiction books in this pile, so I thought I could add to my repertoire. And I started it, and it's so good. It is so interesting. Basically, this woman goes through like all different murderers, and she gives like tons of information about each murderess, and she even includes pictures in here. Let me see if I can find one. Little illustrations of the women who are the murderers, and it's not at all like she's trying to glorify, but she's definitely making a statement about misogyny within the ideas of murder. So it definitely has a feminist undertone, talking about the capacity that women have to kill just as much as men, and it's really, really cool. The foreword was so good, and I'm really, really excited to read this. This is the kind of book that I want to like take out with me when I'm like going out. Like I was riding the train back from the city and I was like reading this on the train and I was like, this is the perfect like commuting book, you know? Because you can get like engrossed and step away. It's just, I love it. And again, cutest cover ever. Yeah, so those were all the books that I picked up recently. I just did a haul, so it wasn't like a ton of books, but I mean, it's a little overwhelming for me. I've got a lot of books right now, especially when I came home for vacation. I mean, with maybe like 6 books, and now I'm living with all of these, so we're gonna have to figure out some sort of situation with packing all of these books. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope everyone had an awesome new year. I hope 2018 is going to be a great year for everybody. Lots of reading. Let me know what your reading goals are for this year. I think my goal is to read 25 books. I've been doing 30, but I literally never meet that goal ever. I think I've done it like once when I was in high school, but I don't anymore, so my goal is 25 books this year. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.